What's going on, Crimson Tide fans? Chris Daughtery here with the Alabama Football Report by Chat Sports. Appreciate everybody who joins us pretty much daily here on the channel. And if you guys want Alabama football videos all off season long, during the season as well, we will be here making videos for you guys, so do not miss out. Make sure you hit that sub button for me right now. So ESPN listed 4 Alabama players as top names to know for the 2026 NFL Draft. Look, this year they have double-digit players coming back that would have been eligible for the 2025 NFL Draft this season. And I think the ability to keep those veteran players on the team has been a very key point for both Michigan and Ohio State over the past 2 seasons in order to make those national championship runs. And now with that extended season, because of the college football playoff expansion, you really do need those veteran leaders on your team to really have a shot at winning it all. So we're going to dive in to these 4 names here. We're going to start off here with junior left tackle Kadyn Proctor. He has, had an up and down time here at Alabama. Obviously, after last season, ended up transferring to Iowa, then coming back. He was homesick, goes back to Iowa, didn't feel like he mentioned that he had never heard the word national championship in their program. Missed some of his friends here. Wilkin Formby, just somebody of note there. So ends up coming back, had a phenomenal season for Alabama last year. Battled a little bit through injuries and stuff, but I thought he played really, really well for Alabama. Cannot wait for what he brings to the table this season. This is what ESPN Matt Miller said on Kadyn Proctor going in to that 2026 NFL Draft outlook. He said at 6'7", 360 pounds, Proctor jumps out on tape. The left tackle possesses elite strength and good movement ability for his size, allowing him to mirror and match with smaller pass rushers and serve as a bulldozer in the run game. He's also improving, going from 9 sacks allowed as a true freshman in 2023 to just 3 this past season. Proctor's stock is on the rise. And I couldn't say it better myself. Because Kadyn Proctor improved so much from his freshman season to his sophomore season here, and even his sophomore season, he battled a little bit through injuries and stuff like that throughout the beginning of the season there. I do think in this system with Kalen DeBoer, he might be a little bit oversized for what they like to do. But you know what? He's going with it, and he's just improving and getting better and better and better. So I do think Kadyn Proctor, if he just grows on this season that he had in 2024 and just has another good year in 2025, man, this Alabama offensive line is going to be really good, especially I think on that left side, and really going to have a good shot to rise up those draft boards, possibly going somewhere in the top first 2 rounds, I would assume, in that 2026 NFL Draft. Next player Matt Miller, gave a shout out to here is Parker Brailsford. Now, Parker Brailsford, he's a redshirt junior, so he could have gone to the 2025 NFL Draft here and decided to stay here in Tuscaloosa for another season, really bolster the interior of that offensive line for Alabama for at least one more season here. This is what Matt Miller said about Parker Brailsford. He said many scouts were surprised that Brailsford returned to Alabama as his 2024 tape showed tremendous growth. At 6'2", 275 pounds, Brailsford is a center with awesome first-step quickness who plays with easy leverage and has better anchor strength than expected for his size. He would be a perfect fit for a zone blocking team and is one of the best one of the FBS's best run blockers, right there. And look, man, there was a lot of questions going from Washington to Alabama. Everybody was like, oh, he's small. He's not going to be able to, compete going from the Pac-12 to the SEC. Well, I'll tell you what, guys, Parker Brailsford really solidified the interior of your offensive line this past season. And coming off of that season with Seth McLaughlin, there's a lot of ups and downs there with some of those snap issues. You saw, a couple of times at the very beginning of the season, there was a little bit of cadence issues probably there, but, they got that figured out. And Parker Brailsford really played extremely well for Alabama, especially in the pass blocking as well. I think he's just going to continue to improve in that run blocking. But, man, this offensive line for Alabama is going to be really good. And hopefully, my hope is it kind of gives those shades back to that 2020 season. You got Kadyn Proctor at the left side. There's going to be a battle for that left guard spot. Cam Newberry got him there right now, but would not rule out Gino Vandermark. I've seen him work plenty in some of those videos and stuff. Ola Salinen, very excited about what he can bring to the table. William Sanders is somebody that Tyler Booker shouted out as well. So there's going to be a battle at that left guard spot. We'll see what happens at the right tackle spot. Will Conformi's there as of right now. But Jackson Lloyd, have seen him a lot in some of those, practice clips, videos, photos, and everything like that. So I got a good feeling about this offensive line going into next season. The only question mark, I think, is what's this depth going to look like? If somebody ends up going down, we're just going to have to wait and see. So let me know here at the pinned comment of today's video, guys. Can Alabama's offensive line win the Joe Moore Award this season? It would be the first time since that 2020 year. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section of today's show. Type Y for yes or N for no, especially if that ad comes here on YouTube. All right, let's flip it over to the defensive side of the ball now. We got LT Overton going into his senior season at that Bandit position, a.k.a., defensive end basically is, the Bandit position, and how Kane Womack in that Alabama coaching staff likes to use that there. He's another guy. I saw him a lot in the top, 50 of the Pro Football Focus big boards. Definitely could have gone off to the NFL draft, decides to come back to Tuscaloosa and help out this defensive line for another season. Let's look at what Matt Miller had to say about LT Overton here. He said Overton might have been a first rounder in the 2025 NFL draft had he declared, but he could submit himself as a first-round pick in 2026 at 6'5", 283 pounds. Overton has a potent combination of size and speed that scouts love, as he can play defensive tackle and defensive end. He had 2 sacks this past season in a heavy rotation and will start in the 2026 draft process with a first-round grade. Now, one of the biggest things we've talked about with LT Overton is his ability to finish. Look at those pressure numbers. Look at those stops numbers. Like, he's not getting beat off the line of scrimmage a whole hell of a lot, but only 3 tackles for loss, only 2 sacks. Kane Womack was, asked about that specifically, and he said, I think I can do some things to probably help him out there as well in terms of some of those pre-snap reads, whether or not it's going to be a pass or a run. A lot of that comes in film study. Got a lot of excitement there for LT Overton. We'll see kind of how this, defensive line stacks up for Alabama next season. But LT Overton definitely, if he can continue to progress, definitely do think, and I agree with Matt Miller, he's going to have a good shot to go in the first round of the NFL draft next season. We'll continue on here with one more player just in a moment, but want to give a shout out to our friends over at Fanatics. You guys can get up to 50% off on Alabama hoodies right now just by going to chatsports.com/CFB hoodies. They've got hoodies, they've got quarter zips, they've got crew necks, they've got all the gear you could want for Alabama football. So go over there to chatsports.com/CFB hoodies. That link will be in the comment section and the description of today's show. There should also be a little clickable link over there that'll bring you right to the screen there for Alabama gear. So do not miss out. Make sure you guys go over to Fanatics and get your Alabama gear. All right, the last player that Matt Miller, shouted out here is Keon Sabb, Redshirt junior, going into this season at that safety spot. And Keon Sabb, it was kind of a shame. Last season, started off pretty hot and then, got that injury during the Tennessee game. Ended up having to go out. Bray Hubbard goes in. Bray Hubbard has a phenomenal rest of the season there. But I think Keon Sabb, Bray Hubbard together back there, those two guys are going to be absolutely elite for Alabama in this 2020 5 season at that back end. You got that senior leadership there. So, I'm very excited for what Alabama has at that safety spot going into next season. So let me know here in the comments section, who is your favorite defensive back on this Alabama roster? Could be a starter, could be somebody that we're going to see in the future sometime, like maybe a, Chuck McDonald, not even on campus right now, just for example there. Not saying that would be my answer. But let me know what you guys think in the comments section of today's show. All right, lastly, this is what Matt Miller said on Keon Sabb. He said, Sabb made an impact this past season after transferring from Michigan before suffering a season-ending injury in October. That was during that Tennessee game. The 6'1", 206-pound Sabb has 4 interceptions in 2 college seasons and is the size of a prototypical NFL safety. He has top 50 potential. Look, I'll continue to say this. Keon Sabb has that dog in him as well as some of these other Alabama defenders here in the defensive back room. And according to Greg McElroy, he played half of that Tennessee game, the whole half of that Tennessee game, with a broken foot. So, really appreciate him going out there and just absolutely giving it his all for this Alabama team. And I keep saying this secondary is going to be a strength for this Alabama defense. I think in year 2, under Kane Womack, you got Keon Sabb and Bray Hubbard. I think these guys are going to cook. We saw it early. Last season he had those 2 interceptions versus Western Kentucky. And, I do think early on in the season there might have been a few busted coverages. Look, I'm not a coach. I don't necessarily know that to be fact or anything like that. But it did look to me like there was some miscommunication early on in the season. And, look, that's very understandable considering the circumstances. This is the first time since, 2007 that this Alabama defense had to learn a completely new system because you had Nick Saban there, constantly. It was the same thing year after year after year. And you normally depend on some help from, guys like a Malachi Moore last year who would have been in that Nick Saban system for a very long time, could kind of fill the gaps in terms of, helping each other out. Last year, you didn't have that, because those guys were learning the new system as well under Kane Womack. And, just hearing C.J. Dupree say that Keon Sabb was the best player that he ever played against in college football, that really fired me up, and I cannot wait to see what we get from that safety spot in particular in Keon Sabb and Bray Hubbard. We're going to be live over on our main Chat Sports channel. NFL free agency is underway. We were live for 7 hours yesterday. We had a whole lot of fun. So if you guys are also interested in the NFL and want to come hang out with us over at our main Chat Sports page, we're going to be live starting here at at noon Eastern here. So do not miss out. If you guys want some free agency coverage, make sure you hit that sub button over on our main Chat Sports channel.